So in any service business, there's this really critical journey that happens every day, turning a customer's problem into a paid invoice. Today, we're going to trace that exact path from start to finish, right inside SAP S4HANA Cloud. We'll see how a single request flows seamlessly through the entire system. It's a question every service business has to answer, right? A customer has a problem, you send a technician out to fix it, and, well, you need to get paid for it. But what actually happens in between? How does a system like SAP manage that whole flow, from a frantic phone call all the way to a settled account? That's exactly what we're going to map out right now. And we're going to break this journey down into 3 simple parts. First up, the order. How does the request even get into the system? Then, we'll follow the technician out into the field as they do the actual work. And finally, we'll close the loop by turning that work into a bill and getting paid. So let's start at the very beginning. Our story begins in the office with the customer service manager. This is the person who's really on the front lines, fielding that initial request and getting the ball rolling. The manager's whole world, their command center, is the SAP Fiori Launchpad. From this really clean, tile-based screen, they basically act as the gatekeeper for every new service request that comes into the business. And creating that initial order is super straightforward. In just a few clicks, the manager opens the Managed Service Orders app, hits Create, and fills in all the essential details. Who's the customer, what's the problem. Once they save it, that request officially exists in the system. Okay, now this is a really crucial point. Just creating the order isn't enough. It has to be released. Think of this as flipping a switch from draft to live. It's only after the manager releases the order that it becomes visible and available for a technician to actually be assigned to it. It is the official green light. And one of the most powerful features here has to be the process flow. It gives the manager this awesome chronological map of every single document linked to this job, from the first quote all the way to the final invoice. This isn't just some history log, it means no more digging around in different places to figure out what's going on. It is total visibility, all in one spot. So, with the order released, we're going to leave the manager's office and head out into the field. The focus now shifts completely to the service technician, the person who's going to actually perform the work. This table here really illustrates the clear separation of duties perfectly. The manager owns that initial request, the service order. But the technician, they own the service confirmation, which is the official record of what they actually did on site. This clear distinction is so key to keeping the whole process clean and accountable. Now, the technician doesn't have to go hunting for their work. They just log in and see a tile called My Assignments. It's their own personalized, up-to-the-minute to-do list for the day, showing them exactly where they need to go and what needs to get done. Simple as that. Let's talk about a real-world scenario every technician faces. You get to the customer's site, and the problem is way more complex than what was described. You need a part that wasn't on the original order. What do you do then? Well, the good news is the system is flexible enough to handle exactly this situation. As long as the order is active and the confirmation is still open, the technician has the power to add unplanned items, whether that's a spare part, some extra labor time, or an expense, directly from their device, right there on site. After all the work is done, the technician's most important step in the system is creating a service confirmation. This becomes the official, unchangeable record of the job. It documents every single part used, every hour worked, and any expenses they had. And here is where the real magic of an integrated system just shines. The technician performs one simple action. They mark that service confirmation as completed. And that one single click sets off a chain reaction across the entire company. Boom. Their time is automatically sent to their timesheet for payroll. The parts they used are instantly deducted from the warehouse inventory, and the costs are posted to the finance department's books. One action, multiple, perfectly synchronized updates. It's just incredibly efficient. Okay, the technician's work is officially done. Now it's time for the final act, getting paid. We're closing the loop and turning that completed service into a customer invoice. That completed status on the confirmation is the trigger. It's the signal back to the customer service manager that the job is finished and it's now ready for the final financial steps. So the responsibility gets handed right back to the office. And this final process is just as structured. The manager reviews the completed work and uses the Release for Billing app. Now, this action doesn't create the invoice itself. Instead, it generates something called a billing document request, or a BDR. Think of the BDR as an approved, prepackaged set of billing information. It then lands in the queue for a billing clerk, who uses that BDR to generate the final accurate invoice for the customer. So what's the big takeaway here? It's really this. Every single step from that initial customer call all the way to that final invoice isn't some isolated event. It's a link in a chain, a single, visible, and traceable journey, all within the SAP system. And this brings us to a final, really crucial thought. We've seen the process, we know how it works, but the real power lies in the data it creates. With every single step logged, a business can start seeing patterns, maybe predicting which parts will be needed next time, and ultimately provide faster, smarter service. And that is how a simple process becomes a huge competitive advantage.
All right, let's jump right